Hi, fourth grade. So you did your read works yesterday. Today we are going to focus on a new skill that we will do in social studies, but that we will also do with our next story, which is in a few weeks in our reading book, and that is timelines. So you are going to do a biography timeline today about Dr. Martin Luther King. Biographies are stories or information written by someone else about someone. I know Miss Reader has talked a little bit about this, but biographies are by someone else about a person in history. So biographies are actually nonfiction. So they are real and they're written about somebody else. So, for example, if I were to do a biography about someone, it would not be about me, okay? I would do a biography about Baby Yoda, okay? So I would give all my information about Baby Yoda. Or if I was doing a biography about Miss Reader, I would talk about Miss Reader. So this is about another person. So it's a third person type of writing because I'm writing about someone else. I won't be using the words I or me or my. I'll say she or it or they, depending on what I'm talking about, okay? So this is broken into two different parts, okay? This is day one. Day one is, and there's a little Martin Luther King right there. Isn't that adorable? I love that picture. All right, so what you are going to do, because for some reason this is going really, really slow. Okay, today and tomorrow you're going to read a biography all about Dr. Martin Luther King. So again, a biography is a passage written about someone by someone else. And that's how I remember it, by someone else, okay? Now, after you read the slides and the biography, you're going to create a timeline using key events in Dr. Martin Luther King's Jr.'s life. Pay close attention to the dates on the following slides. So, a lot of times when biographies are written, they are written in order from when the person was born, going through their life, when the person has passed on, or to where the person is currently in their life. Okay, so sometimes the person has passed on, and then we would put their death date in the book or the biography, or if they're still living, we would talk about what they are currently doing. Okay. So this is a timeline. So a timeline, as you can see, it has the dates listed in order. This is often used in biographies and it's often used in social studies and in history when we're talking about a period of time. Now, many students, for some reason, we think that Dr. Martin Luther King was alive a long, 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 long time ago. But if you did Mrs. Engelbrecht's question, you will find out that it's really not that long ago when he gave his speech. He gave his speech back in the 60s of 1960 time frame. I'm not going to tell you exactly when because you're going to have to figure that out today, but he gave his speech during that time frame and we are in 2020. So hopefully you did 2020 minus 1960, whatever that date was, and you would find the difference, okay? So a lot of us are kind of not aware that this did not happen that long ago. You may have grandparents that were alive during this time. And for example, my parents are older, so I have parents that were alive during this time. So yes, it's history, but there are people who lived through this history, which is kind of cool. Kind of like how if we were to do a timeline of your life, you would be able to talk about what's going on in our world right now and talk about COVID and talk about all the different events that are taking place in our world. So, history, even though it's back in the past, there are still people who are living. And sometimes we don't realize history was not even that long ago if it happened in the 1960s, okay? So here is our timeline, and I wanted to do a timeline because I really wanted to show you this wasn't that long ago. Okay, so a timeline goes in order from the person's birth, okay, to their death. Or maybe we're plotting the events of a war. So we would do like the earliest battle to the most recent battle, okay? So as you notice, it goes in order 1929, 1944, 1948. Now, not every single year is going to be on a timeline, okay? Because maybe in 1930, nothing really exciting happened. So on your dates, you're going to have dates that are specific to history. So if nothing happened in 1930, which in America things had happened, but maybe not with Dr. Martin Luther King. But during that time, we were going through the Great Depression in the 20s and 30s, which you'll learn about later on. Gosh, I love history. But anyway, so if nothing happened during that year, it's not important to have on the timeline, okay? So you're going to notice it goes 1929, 1944, 1948, and all of these dates have something to do with Dr. Martin Luther King. So above is a timeline, but I have information listed that is missing because in 1929 something happened to Dr. Martin Luther King. In 1944 something happened to him. In 1948 he did something. In 1953 and so on and so on. Okay, so let's read through some of the major things about a timeline. This will help us for social studies, and this will help us with reading with our next story that we'll be doing, our biographies. Okay. So, a timeline shows major events that occurred in a person's life or historical time period. Timelines list the dates in chronological order. Say that word, chronological order. That means from an order from the earliest to the most present. So the earliest date, 1929, that was super early, to the most recent thing was 1964. If you were doing a timeline of your birth, you would put your birth date, okay, and then to where you are now in 2021, okay? So that would be that most recent date. So it goes in order, okay? So you would do it in order of your birth to where you are currently, okay? Let's look at the next slide here. So, what you'll do is you are going to read through this biography about Dr. Martin Luther King. Now, if you're in person, you will read with your classmates and you will do this together, and your teacher may decide to do this on paper. If you're at home, what I would recommend is to have a piece of paper with you so you can pay attention to the dates. Now, on the top of each one of these slides, there is a heading. A heading tells you what the paragraph is going to be about. So on this particular slide, you will learn about the early life of Martin Luther King. Now, remember, you need to pay attention to the dates. So right here on this very first slide, it tells you he was born in Atlanta on January 15th, 1929. He was one of three children of of Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta King. So that was his mama and his dad. So he's a junior because his dad was named Martin Luther King as well. The only difference is he has doctor in front of his name. Wait a minute. If he was a doctor, does that mean he could do surgery and stuff? What does that doctor mean in front of his name? Interesting. We'll have to see if we can explore that today. Has anybody ever questioned that? Have you guys ever thought about that? Because it's a pretty big deal that he has that doctor in front of him. So pay attention to the dates, write them down because you'll have to do a timeline in a moment. So after you read about that, you'll read about Martin, you'll learn a little bit more about him and so on, okay? Then next you'll read about his studies. So that's where he went to school. What did he study? Again, pay attention to these dates and I would make little notes down, okay? So in my notebook, I would write 1944, he went to college, okay? I would put at 1948, got his degree. Okay, so let me have my notes. So if this is my notebook, I would put on here, so I would put 1948, got degree. Okay, so as I am reading, I would take some notes. Okay, so you see, I put in 1948, got his degree. Let's continue and go through the slides. Then I continue, and there's a picture of him. Okay. Oh, he won an award. Does it tell when he won an award? So it says he won awards for being an outstanding student. He also won the J. Lewis Crozer Award. Okay. I'm going to put one award. So I'm going to put that underneath that 1948 date. And then I'm going to continue. Let's see what the next marriage. Oh, so it looks like he got married. That might be something new. So while in Boston, King met Coretta Scott, a singer studying voice at the New England. Okay, so I'm looking for those dates. Okay, well, it looks like they got married on June 18th, 1953. So in my notes, I'm going to put married. And he got married to a singer. Okay, so here's my notes. I got them on here. Okay, I'm going to continue and see what other dates I can find. And then it continues. King was invited to preach in Montgomery, Alabama, at a church which had a history of civil rights activism. King, okay, so captivated. Oh, he became a pastor. Okay, so he apparently became a pastor in 1954. Again, remember, you're looking for those key dates in Dr. Martin Luther King's life. All right, so Let's see what this one is. Oh, that's a really cool picture. I like that. I like the way he's looking at the camera. What's this say? It says New York Mayor Wagner. Okay, so he's meeting the mayor. Doesn't really have a date, but that's probably really important that he's meeting the mayor. That means he's a big deal. All right. Now, Montgomery boycott. Ooh, that's a pretty cool heading. What's that about? Let's see. After King arrived in Montgomery, Rosa Parks went, huh? Oh, I've heard of this before. I want you guys to read this one. There's no date attached yet. So we're going to keep reading. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, it says the nearly 20,000 citizens refused. Oh, wow. Okay, December 20th, 1956. This was part of the boycott, the Montgomery boycott, which was a huge moment in history. If this was not a part of history, I don't know where we would be today. So on December 20th, the boycott happened. I'm going to let you guys read about that one. Let's see. Is there any other information on this? Nope, I got my dates. All right, let's see. There's a picture of all the people. I love the intensity of these pictures. Let's see what else is here. Okay, approximately, this is a continue of the boycott. In class, I hope that you and your teachers have really good, deep discussions for this. It's kind of hard to have a discussion when it's just one-sided with me on the computer. But if you have questions about this, or if you want to expand more, when your teacher live teaches this, I would definitely get those hands up and ask some questions about this time in history. All right, let's see what else. Okay. So that is the end of day one. So hopefully in your notes, you have some dates. You have the date that he was born. You have the date when he got his degree. You have a date when he was married. You have a date when he became a pastor. And most important, you have the date of the boycotts where people refused to give up their seats on buses to stop the injustice that was going on in the world at the time. So please make sure you stop right there. Do not submit this because you have more stuff to do on the next day, okay? So for today, stop. You're going to stop right here, and we will pick it up here tomorrow where we will continue with our timeline activity. Don't lose your notes.